From cheating death at the last minute to escaping dangerous situations without injuries, the following footage captures some of the most extraordinary cases of sheer luck you've ever seen. Prepare to be amazed as we showcase near-death experiences, once-in-a-lifetime saves, and stories of miraculous escapes. These are the luckiest people caught on camera.
I love our chances. You know, it's been... Dad, keep it on the field.
Man hit by falling debris. Playing around in a crumbling building is always a bad idea, and this guy was about to find out why. After playfully kicking the wall down to the ground kung fu style,
Whoa, pick up!
a portion of the building suddenly comes crashing down on his head out of nowhere. Luckily, he was saved by the helmet, and although he's injured, he managed to walk away from the incident alive. The stunt man. On some days, you need your skills, and on other days, you need luck. But in this guy's case, it's probably a combination of the two. While riding through the streets, this biker lost control of his bike, and it went straight in this guy's direction. While most people would have tried to escape, this guy chose to jump, and the way he did it was straight out of an action movie. To confirm that he was okay, our main character immediately took a sip from the drink he was holding like nothing happened. Lucky escape. This woman riding a scooter decided to overtake a large truck in the middle of a busy highway. Suddenly, the traffic lights turned green, and the truck started moving, unaware that someone was in front of the vehicle. At first glance, it appeared both the woman and the scooter had been crushed under the truck, but it turned out this was the woman's lucky day, as she soon emerged from under the truck, dazed but alive. Autopilot activated. In this case, we don't know who was actually more lucky, this guy or several other people standing nearby. We can't explain what went wrong with this guy's car, but out of nowhere, it suddenly pushed him off and started moving on its own. It was as though someone had activated an autopilot function in it, but at the end of the day, no one was hurt. Luck or skills? This truck driver was just inches away from crushing the car driving on the second lane, after it suddenly lost balance and leaned over. But thanks to the driver's quick thinking and a stroke of luck, the whole situation was salvaged at the last minute. Imagine being that guy in the car and watching your life flash before your eyes. Saved by inches. Watch as this man narrowly escapes getting hit by a rogue car in the parking lot. While searching through his van with his back turned, a car suddenly comes barreling towards him at high speed. Fortunately, he managed to escape death or serious injuries by mere inches and will live to tell the story another day. Danger at the gym. This video is the perfect example of why you should always have a spotter when bench pressing. Watch how this bodybuilder almost got crushed by the heavy weight while trying to show off at the gym. Thankfully, the weight landed on the gym equipment, just mere inches away from his chest. Lucky to be alive. Riding a motorcycle at blistering speed on a dangerously curved road sounds like a recipe for disaster, and this biker's life was about to flash before his eyes. After clearing the first few curves, the experienced biker suddenly finds himself crashing into the hard asphalt before rolling straight into the woods. It was only by a stroke of luck that he managed to avoid hitting any of the trees and sustaining serious injuries. Bicycle stunt gone wrong. This guy was trying to show off his skills at the skate park with an impressive somersault over the fence. But things took a dark turn when he landed straight into the spiked metal fence. You could say today was his lucky day as he managed to land at a perfect angle and avoided getting impaled by the fence. Here comes the bus. Watch as this couple narrowly avoids death right in front of their home. After walking out of the door and hailing the oncoming vehicle, the driver suddenly heads straight for the couple at dangerous speed. It's not certain whether the vehicle lost control or the accident was caused by the heavy rain, but these guys are definitely lucky to be alive. A stray rock. By their very nature, demolition sites are considered extremely dangerous. How dangerous? Well, these guys were just about to find out. This set of people were filming a demolition site up close when a rock flew past one of the bystanders at a furious speed. It was only thanks to pure luck that the cameraman managed to avoid getting hit with a stone bullet. Wrong place, wrong time. This man was riding his bike along a quiet street when he suddenly fell and began sliding across the road. A van then appeared out of nowhere. narrowly missing the biker and saving him from instant death. Paragliding gone wrong. This is Kevin Phillip, a professional paraglider performing a very dangerous stunt in Organya, Spain. Although this wasn't his first rodeo, this particular incident almost resulted in disaster. While dangling thousands of miles in the air, the cables of his parachute became tangled, and he started plunging straight to the ground. Thankfully, he was able to deploy the chute just before impact. Not today, Satan. CCTV footage on a street in India captured the moment when a tractor lost control and started speeding towards an oblivious biker standing on the roadside. Within seconds, another rogue vehicle could be seen heading straight for the same biker, leading to a collision between the tractor and the vehicle. While the biker was knocked to the ground, he was eventually able to walk away from the scene without any injuries. However, the same cannot be said for the drivers of the two vehicles. Bear versus boat. Imagine getting chased by a bear while driving a boat. Watch as these passengers race for their lives as this brown bear almost caught up with them while they were traveling through a dangerous region filled with dangerous predators. Thankfully, the bear either got tired or disinterested and eventually let the people go unharmed. But who knows how the video could have ended if the wild beast didn't stop chasing. Obedient crocs. If you know anything about crocodiles, you know it's almost impossible to tame them. But why exactly were the crocodiles bothering the guy in this clip? No one can really tell. Perhaps it's the fact that he decided to step into the swamp where they live. Or the croc was hungry and hunting for food. You could even hear the guy tell the crocodile to back off. At the end of the day, the predator probably became disinterested and went about its business. Safari fail. Imagine going to the safari to hang out with the lions, only to find out the lions also want to hang out as well. These guys were parked along the roadside where these apex predators were sunbathing, when one curious lion approached them. Believing they were safe in the car, these tourists showed no signs of fear or urgency. But everything changed when the lion figured out a way to open the door, sending everyone in the car into a panic. Safe for the quick reflexes of the woman in the back seat who quickly closed the door, this situation would have taken a whole different turn. Saved from the flood. After getting stuck under the bridge during a terrifying flood, this guy had given up on ever getting rescued. But thanks to these heroic strangers, he was eventually pulled out of the fast-moving waters and brought back to dry grounds. The near miss. It's not clear what this biker and his spectators wanted to achieve, but it seemed the bike was not in support. Luckily, the guy filming was able to jump out of the way, leaving the biker and the bike to crash land on their own. We don't know if the biker is okay, but the camera guy was definitely lucky. Soft landing. Looks like these two men are expecting something to fall on their arms from the sky. A huge stack of cash or maybe a daily bread, or maybe even a kid. Of course, you must have many questions right now. Where did the kid come from? Was he thrown off a story building? Did he try a Spider-Man stunt? Unfortunately, no one really knows. Man versus lion. No one really knows why this man thought it was a good idea to jump into a lion's enclosure, but it appears he was completely out of his mind. At first, he takes off his jacket and waves it around like a matador. But then the lions began attacking, mauling, and biting him. Despite being injured by the apex predators, the man made no move to escape. Instead, he sat down and waited for the lions to attack one more time. After a lot of back and forth, the keepers were finally able to tranquilize the big cats before convincing the man to walk out of the enclosure. Keep your head up. Everyone knows it's never advisable to stick your head out of a moving train, but this woman's survival instincts must have been on hold on this particular day. While trying to get the perfect video for her social media, she indirectly put herself in harm's way, almost getting decimated by the oncoming train. But at the very last second, she pulled back into the cabin, saving everyone from witnessing a daytime nightmare. Watch out for that tree. Cutting down a massive tree is a job best left to the professionals, but sometimes even when you do everything right, things can still easily go wrong. Watch as this person narrowly avoids getting crushed to the ground by the falling tree, although they're definitely walking away with a few bruises. Danger in the tunnel. It was a race against time for these guys as they tried to outrun a whole train barreling out of the tunnel. It's unclear why exactly they were in the tunnel at the time, but upon hearing the sound of the train's horn blaring, they knew they had to get out as fast as possible. Although at first it looked like they were not going to make it, both men eventually got out safely, while the train continued on its journey undisturbed. Skydiving gone wrong. Skydiving is probably one of the most dangerous stunts ever invented. But what happens when divers refuse to deploy their parachute at the appropriate altitude? No one knows why these two skydivers thought it was a good idea to keep free falling despite being so close to the ground. But thankfully, the automatic deployment system saved them moments before disaster. It's your lucky day. This group of people were watching an air show when suddenly one of the fighter jets had to perform an emergency landing. With nowhere left to go, the pilot directed the aircraft towards the audience on the ground, missing them only by a few inches before landing on the runway several feet away. Man saved from burning car. After this man's car caught on fire on a highway in Minnesota, several onlookers rushed to see if they could save the driver from burning to death. Even though the car was already engulfed in flames, the men kept trying to push it back upright. After a few attempts, they were finally able to pull the man away from the fiery inferno. He was then transported to the hospital, where he received immediate treatment for his injuries.
The scariest moment of my life, I saw a car on fire, and then I was like, oh, probably somebody's in there.
Parkour gone wrong. This guy was trying to impress his friends with his parkour skills at the beach, but after jumping from an insane height, he nearly collides with a biker going about his business before landing at a very uncomfortable angle. Thankfully, he managed to walk away without any serious injuries, although he would definitely think twice before attempting the stunt next time.
Let's go! Oh shit! Are you okay?
Paragliding gone wrong. Deep in the icy mountains, these guys gathered to watch a couple of paragliders do their thing. But when no one was paying attention, one of the stuntmen flew too close to the ground, almost hitting the spectator on the ground. One can only imagine what would have happened if the paraglider traveling at high speed had collided with the unaware spectator. Near miss. While riding a bike through a busy road, this guy decided to skip ahead of the traffic to get to his destination. Unfortunately, he didn't maneuver his path so well and ended up colliding with another bike going the sensible speed limit. But just when you thought the situation couldn't get any worse, the man began to slide towards the car on the third lane, almost getting crushed by the tires. Luckily, he managed to walk away with only his initial injuries. The death slip. A group of divers were standing on the edge of a cliff, waiting to explore a small river locked between two rocks, when one of them suddenly slipped and fell. It's unclear whether this guy was just goofing around or his situational awareness was on a very low scale that day. Imagine if he accidentally hit something on his way down. It could have surely spelled disaster for the whole mission. Disaster at the park. Nobody really knows how this guy got up there, or why the person recording didn't try to get him out, but according to reports, it appears he eventually survived, although with serious injuries. Dogs save woman from bear. This woman almost got attacked by a brown bear in her own home. Fortunately, her two dogs immediately came to her defense, scaring the bear away instantly. It's still a mystery why this 300-pound brown bear was spooked by two dogs, but at least the woman was grateful she didn't get mauled by a wild beast. Snow mountain accident. This adrenaline junkie was skiing in the mountains when he suddenly fell into a 60 feet deep hole. Scared for his life, he immediately reached out to his friends, informing them of his predicament. It didn't take long for them to show up and pull him out of the hole, saving him from a cold, harsh death. Lucky John. At this point, it's safe to say bikes are the most dangerous mode of transportation. This biker named John, however, got lucky as he was almost hit by a car on the freeway. His friend, who filmed him from the back, couldn't stop screaming his name in awe. That could have been him filming his friend's accident, but fortunately, John got lucky. Minimal damage. When this guy walked out of a store, he was only thinking about how to get into his car and leave his location. But life had a different plan. Immediately, he entered the driver's seat. A car suddenly crashed into him, sending the car door flying. If he was still standing by the door, he definitely would have been hit. Although his door was totally damaged, he's definitely thankful to be alive. The balancing act. Watch how this driver recovers after getting hit by a bus and almost smashing into another one. The man sitting on top of all the luggage must be the luckiest man on earth, as he managed to hold on despite being flung around like a ragdoll following the collision. Man escapes from Runaway saw. Speaking of close calls, an Oregon man was walking into a convenience store when a runaway saw blade suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Luckily for the man, he was already inside the store when it smashed into the building. Considering how the impact of the saw shook the whole building, it could have possibly sliced the man in half if he wasn't out of the way.
All I heard was like a metal rolling down from the street, and I looked at the camera, it was just wind.
Real-life superhero. Have you ever met a real-life superhero? Well, here's one right here. In reality, this guy never planned to be a hero, as he was just at a gas station minding his business. Suddenly, a car rammed into a gas pump, and it caught fire, leading the guy to run for his life. However, his superhero instinct kicked in, and he went back to pull out the unconscious driver. As soon as he escaped from the scene, the whole place erupted in flames. Elephant in the room. While driving on a road like this, you most likely won't expect a mother elephant to cross the road almost at the same time. Although the elephant probably didn't have an evil agenda against the driver, she was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Thankfully, both the driver and the elephant went about their business without any injuries or damages. Nap on the wheel. Some people are capable of taking a nap anywhere, like this guy, who fell into an involuntary nap while driving. It was as though he suddenly went unconscious while he was behind the wheels, and somehow, the car went off course, going round and round before almost heading back to the road. Luckily, he wasn't driving on a busy road when he lost control, or he wouldn't have made it to this list. Hanging by a thread. Kids these days take adventure to a whole new level, like this guy, who decided to cycle on a cliff, just for content. Out of nowhere, he suddenly lost control of his bicycle and, in a split second, was literally hanging by the cliff. Thankfully, he didn't fall from that height, or he wouldn't have lived to tell the tale. The dangerous peck. These two drivers didn't see each other coming early enough that they struggled to avoid crashing into each other. Anyone at the scene would have thought it would end in a collision, but somehow, the two drivers managed to come to a stop at the point of touching each other, making it look like a peck on the cheek. We love love stories, but this one almost had a tragic ending. Plot twist. A dash cam captured these two vehicles making their way out from under a bridge, unknown to anyone that one of the drivers already lost control. While everyone, including the bikers, feared an accident between the two cars, what they failed to realize was that they were also in danger. In a plot twist, one car hit the other and pushed the latter towards the bikers. Fortunately, it was only a near miss. Before we go on with the rest of the video, here's our subscribers' pick for today. Watch as this woman narrowly escapes getting crushed by a truck in her own garage. While there's no actual footage of this incident available online, it appears the image was captured by a home CCTV. Apparently, the woman had fallen off the back of a moving truck before the driver finally noticed her and stopped moving. As we explore the stories of some of the luckiest people caught on camera, this particular one stands out. First, because of the nature of the incident and how close this woman came to losing her life. Which of these clips shocked you the most? Share with us in the comments down below. Now, let's get back to the video. Skiing gone wrong. This guy was trying to pull off a massive stunt when he suddenly lost control and shot straight into the air, only for him to come crashing down on an innocent dog. Although he's lucky to have walked out without any serious injuries, the same cannot be said for the dog. An expensive misstep. Climbing a mountain this high comes with a lot of risk, but this guy decided to take things to a whole new level by threading the narrowest path possible. As soon as he missed his step, he realized how far he was from the lowland. That single misstep was so expensive it could cost a dear life. Off my way. These two people must either be lost in thought or wearing ear pods. Or how do you explain standing right on a rail track and not hearing the train honk? From the video, you can hear the train blasting its horn even before it got close to the two, but before they could react, the train was only a few feet away. Clearly, these guys are some of the luckiest people on Earth. Work hazard. While trying to rid apart a building joint, the floor saved him the stress and just crumbled, taking the guy along. While the distance he fell through wasn't really that tall, he could have still sustained serious injuries. However, the good thing is that this guy could laugh about it after the whole ordeal. Frozen. Imagine crossing the road and suddenly the bus starts speeding your way. For this old lady, it wasn't just a figment of her imagination. But while some people would have tried to flee the scene, this woman was completely frozen, and luckily the bus stopped before she got hit. Even if you can't see it, you can clearly feel the fear as she struggles to get back on her feet. Captain in disguise. Even if you can't trust yourself, you have to trust a pilot before flying. But but these guys took their trust to a much deeper level. While flying in a helicopter, traveling with 2 women and a baby, the helicopter suddenly needed an emergency landing. Somehow, this man took his passengers to the ground without the baby making a sound, which you'll admit is pretty impressive. A near-death experience. In a place that appeared like a library, 3 people can be seen moving about and minding their business. Suddenly, this woman decided to move away from where she was standing. Immediately, a car traveling at nothing less than 60 miles per hour rammed into the building. Thankfully, no one was hit. Reckless skater. While many people on this list were not playing near danger, this skater decided to test death and see what would happen. Out of curiosity, he decided to skate off a road into another without checking for an oncoming vehicle. Unfortunately, he was thrown right in front of a speeding vehicle. Fortunately, the driver quickly hit the brakes and saved his life. You'll agree that his driver deserves an accolade for being swift with his decisions. As for this guy, we have no words. The sinking ice. These 2 guys were trying to get the perfect video while standing on a floating iceberg. Unfortunately, the iceberg began to sink, and they started sinking with it. At first, the rest of their friends in the boat began to panic, but then the 2 guys suddenly emerged from the water, cold but unharmed. Miraculous escape. Right in the middle of a well-populated city, a camera captured a terrifying scene. The clip shows several people moving around a road. Suddenly, everyone left the middle of the road for no reason. In that exact spot, the floor cracked open, leaving a pit as wide as you can imagine. Of everyone, the last man to leave the spot is the luckiest, as he was almost swallowed by the pit. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.